Anyone else? Let's see. I'm just going to do
Okay, you're
this.
recording and streaming, and I'm going to mute myself and let me know if you need anything else. I'll be right here.
All right. Let me see. I'm just going to uh, I've stopped sharing my screen, right? Do you see anything?
Yes, you stopped. Yep,
Oh,
you
good.
stopped already.
Because I need to see the participants and I cannot share my
Yeah, you
screen
can't share with seeing that
and see
exactly.
participants. So let's see. We have Dustin, Liz, Jody, John, Lisa, Margaret Brennan. All right. So John. Oh, sorry. I'm just trying to figure out. We'll give it a minute and we'll get started. All right.
Fritzy, I'm having trouble with my camera tonight, so I may or may not be able to get it. If I don't get it working, I'm here.
All right. Great. Thank you. Dustin,
Hi, John
Jody,
Lemelin. Oh, I see you.
Lisa is out here.
I'm Margie.
Margaret and Sabrina. All right. Well, let's see. It's 6:01. We'll get started. And we'll catch people up when they come in. All right. Uh, we will end the meeting right at 6:15. And if I go fast, somebody just stop me and tell me I'm going too fast. Let's see. Uh, all right. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 counting Lisa and Marina's just joined. All right. So good evening, everybody. Welcome. Uh, My name is Preeti Irani. I'm one of the co-chairs of this work group. This is our first meeting. We're using some new technology and we expect hiccups, so just bear with us, but we'll get better as the meeting goes along. Um, so what I will do is initially we'll just go on, say our names and maybe tell me what you hope or what you expect, one thing you hope to get out of your participation in this work group. And then I'll go through the agenda. And as people come in, we'll let them introduce themselves. And then I'll do a kind of a short presentation. And then it'll be interactive. The presentation will be like 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. And then we hope to use the Jamboard, which will be very interactive. So if you can this will give people a chance to join in and they'll miss the introductions. So what I hope to get out of this meeting is really get a sense of how Niskayuna folks, our community views racial equity and justice, and from that to draw out the information and data and best practices. So I hope all of you will begin participating very actively by the third or fourth meeting when you get comfortable with each other. So I'll stop there. Margaret, I'll call you all out. So if you could I'm looking at it from the screen. So Margaret, if you'd go next. You're on mute.
All right, now I'm okay. I volunteered with Pretty to work on this quite a while ago because I'm very interested in data and what really goes on that people don't talk about here. So what I hope to get out of this tonight is finding other people who have the same interests and finding out how I can contribute.
Great. Thank
using
you,
my
Margaret.
background.
Yep. Thank you. Lisa, I'm just going to ask you to unmute and Lisa is helping us technically. She's been very helpful and it's great to have somebody in the background helping me with the technical stuff. So Lisa, just if you could introduce yourself.
Hi guys, I work for the town of Niskayuna part-time in recreation and senior programming, and I also do support the IT department at the town, which is only one gentleman. So that's why I'm here tonight to help facilitate this, and please bear with us if we have any issues because the Jamboard's new to us, but we're actually excited about it because I think it seems really cool. So I'm glad to be here, and thank you all for coming tonight.
Thank you, Lisa. Sabrina, if you'd go next.
Hi, everyone. I'm driving, so I'm not going to put the camera on. My goal is to really bring what language access looks like for the town, for its community members, whether they be deaf, whether they speak another language, whether they have other accessibility needs, to really bring that to the forefront, because it's not just about racial equity, it's about equity for everyone. And I think that's a really key component to understanding.
Thank you, Sabrina. Liz, would you go next? Elizabeth?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Elizabeth. I'm a member of this task force, but I am hoping to bring some kind of equity in the town of Niskayuna, something good for the community. And as Sabrina said, the language and accent, how people are interacting with the people like me and other people. But other than that, I am expecting something good will happen with this task force to the town.
Thank you, Liz. Dustin, if you'd go next.
Hi, I'm Dustin. I'm a software engineer, so I do lots of stuff with data from time to time, and I'm hoping I can find a way to be useful and make a positive impact in Niskayuna.
Great, thank you. John? You're next. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, it took me that long to find my mute button. Sorry. My name's John Lemelin. I'm very excited about this group. I feel like a lot of the task force organizations and work is being done like right now in the police department or some of those other areas. And I feel like this is a really great opportunity to be across all the areas of Niskayuna and talk about collaboration and communication and making sure that we have a very holistic view on the situation, and not just pick out the individual departments.
Great, thank you. Jody? Mute. You're on mute. I think she's driving. Okay, we'll come back to Jody in a minute. Diane, would you like to go next?
Sure. I'm Diane, and I'm here just, to see what I can do to make a difference, to do, something specific in my community. I've been doing a lot of reading about racial justice, but I'm looking forward to doing something more concrete than just read.
Thank you. And Marina?
Yeah, hi, everybody. My name is, excuse me, my name is Marina Franchild, and living in Niskayuna, where there's so much wealth, I can't help but think about what goes on in Schenectady. So I'm very grateful to be a part of this group, because I feel that we can help to raise consciousness within Niskayuna and perhaps work together to not only create better equity in Niskayuna, but also for people to understand how they can help neighboring communities like Schenectady.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And Jody's back. Were you driving, Jody?
I'm not. I'm just challenged with technology, so that's not one of my strengths. So so I am here. I live in Niskayuna, and I have been looking for some opportunities to get involved with some racial equity initiatives, and this popped in my inbox, and I thought it would be a good way to learn, hopefully contribute, and take some actions in the community I live in.
Great. Thank you very much. So when others join, I'm glad all of you kind of took up this opportunity, which is very exciting. We hope to reach out to more folks as we learn more. And so what I'll do is now just go through kind of a short presentation, kind of give you a sense of what's happening or where we are going with this. And so let me see if I can get my window up here. Okay. Share. And let me get this as a slide mode. I have 3 screens, so I just have to keep shaking my mouse trying to figure out how to get it here. Okay, can you see the presentation? Yes?
Yes.
All right, great. Thank
No,
you.
it's in the corner, but it's not on my screen.
Oh, it's in the
Oh,
corner.
it's
Let me see. Show
yeah.
display settings. Okay, how about this now?
I figured out. It's there.
Yeah, looks
Is this
fine here,
better?
Free. No, looks fine.
It's fine now? All right. So, okay, so we are the Data and Best Practices, one of the work groups of the NISCA Task Force on Racial Justice and Equity. And this meeting is being recorded and live streamed. So there are folks viewing this, but if they registered, they can actually participate rather than listen and see. So those of you who want to participate, register for the next time and we'll get you in. So this is, I was very struck with Amanda Gorman's poem, and especially because one of my interests, and this is new for me, is just since last year I've been trying to get better at this whole thing of systems thinking. And the line that really struck me was somehow we have weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken but simply unfinished. And that is very deep, and I'll explain because almost our thinking is very often unfinished. And that's why it's helpful to have various folks join in and kind of put pieces together. Oops, sorry. Here. So the next one is our agenda. So we'll have a quick icebreaker. That was just the introductions you did. We'll go through the ground rules and I'll give you a little thing on systems, and then we'll use the Jamboard. Um, and then I was going to ask you, and you can let me know at the end of the meeting, whether we can have monthly meetings, which means our next, which would be the third Tuesday. So our next meeting would be May 18th, 6 p.m. If that's a good time, let me know. I'll ask you at the end of the meeting again. And right now I said 1 hour, 15 minutes. If we can do it to 1.5 hours, because sometimes interaction takes a little more time than just like a monologue. We may finish earlier because I tend to be a very quick speaker and I always finish early, but it's nice to have 1.5. That will be definitely end by then. So, okay, so all of you kind of filled out a form and I put it in like a word cloud, and you can see that folks who filled out the form, Niska Yuna comes up right up front. You are invested in the town. Community comes out loud, racial equity, and you talked about your strengths and your background. And each of you are experts in your own area. Some of you said, oh, I'm not really an expert at this, but you are. You all have different expertise, and hopefully we can kind of put in together. We are all a little different, which is great. So here are some just basic ground rules. One is trust. I hope we can build trust. Most of us don't know each other. Even on the task force, we kind of started in the middle of COVID. So only a few of us have personally met each other, but most of us have not. And so whenever somebody says something, there may be some misunderstandings, but just think, if it was not a bad intention, just think they have good intentions. But if your feelings are hurt, speak up and maybe we can talk it through. We hope to maintain an open dialogue. If you hear something that seems offensive or a mistake, you can bring it up, but try to be kind when you bring it up so people are not like feeling attacked. If you feel uncomfortable about bringing up at a meeting, you can contact one of the task force members, but at least let Arinka, who's not yet on the call, I think, and me know, or any of the task force members. Just let us know, and we'll bring it up at the next meeting. To listen, speak up, or step back. I tend to be sometimes a dominant speaker, and I'll try to be aware of that. But initially, I may play a more of a heavy role. But as folks get comfortable, I hope to step back and everybody will get a chance to participate. Now, we want to be intentionally inclusive, see who's missing, who do we have more of, and not everybody has time to come to the meeting. So we'll reach out in the community and bring back their voices if they're not able to come to the meetings. Invite them if they can come. That would be great too. Co-creation. Now, this is something, so you see, I won't have a lot of content, but we will start building content or based on our discussions and use it for our next meeting. And you'll see that kind of play as we go from this meeting to the next meeting. And systems, this particular data and best practices work group is not, as John had earlier said, not focused on a particular issue or a department. It's across all. It's more looking at the forest, looking at everything. But eventually, we will go down to one of them based on our interests. But right now, we're looking at the big picture and how they are interconnected. Did anybody have questions about this ground rules, values, anything you want to add? Anything you want to say or? Okay. So this is what the town told us that we have to do. This is our charge. It's taken from the NISCA, the resolution that the board members put out. We have to establish a shared understanding of the term equity and related terminology, collect socioeconomic, racial, ethnic data on Niskayuna town residents, assess and analyze whether town programs and policies affect racial disparities, develop a framework for equitable approach to decision making, define a plan, recommend allocation of appropriate resources, establish equity targets and measures, and recommend plan for ongoing community dialogue and initiatives and programs. So we'll touch on how we'll do this, but this is our charge. So far we have 3 active work groups in the task force, public safety, only because that was a governor's executive order, and they did submit the report, the police reform report in time, and there was a community collaborative. And you see from the task force, the folks are members who were part of the collaborative. So the task force members are in italics. So community service is another group. Liz is a co-chair. She's on this particular call, and you see the other members, and they're working on senior center and interfacing with Niskayuna schools. The data and best practices, this is our first meeting. And like we said, it's across all areas. And Ari and I are the co-chairs. And you see, again, all of you who are on this work group, and the task force members are in italics. So this is how we'll go. This is our first meeting. We'll try to get a better understanding of our roles and begin talking about shared understanding. Then we'll get our shared understanding. You'll understand. We'll start talking about feedback loops and mental models and what data information are available, needed. Every meeting will have a challenge or like a thinking homework or doing homework. That's what I call it, that we'll come back and share. And I will, anyway, so that's what by the end, I hope, of the 6th meeting, we'll have an idea of what data are available, what information we need, why we need the information, how are they connected, and maybe identify some of the best practices based on what we discuss. So I said one of the things we'll talk about is systems and systems thinking. So what is a system? A system is things that are interconnected. So our human body is a system. So if, for example, if I have a flu, it could mean so many things, right? One of my favorite things to do in the New York Times is they have a column which says diagnose the problem, and somebody gives all the symptoms and you have to figure out what the diagnosis is. It's kind of fun. And you find somebody has an itch and the cause is, God knows, it's nothing to do with the skin. So it's interesting. While you look on the other figure on the right-hand side, it's not a system because it's basically what is in my purse. You just take out something and it's there. It doesn't really affect each other. It doesn't have a relationship with each other. So systems are interconnected. So something that affects one part of anything will affect another part. And that's what a system is. And so why do I talk about systems when you're talking about racial equity and justice? So when you talk about systems, you have to look at problems. So you have different types of problems. You have simple problems, complicated problems, complex problems, or crisis, which is like also a big problem. So racial equity and justice is what, or racial inequity and injustice is what we call a complex problem. And complex problems require many people to participate, and it's not often easy to figure out what the cause is and what the solutions are. So you have to kind of do a little bit and look back, listen, and adapt your style. So we are working with complex problems. So we have to understand the system, because something that looks like an easy fix right away, like a flat tire, could be an easy fix. And it's not easy to do that with complex problems. Like so over here, they give an example of a simple problem is a flat tire. It's easier to fix, right? You could fix a flat tire. It involves few components and stakeholders. And you put a car together, that's difficult, but still it's a technical issue and it's a complicated problem. You need training and you need specialized skills. You can still manage and do it. But complex problems like traffic jams, you have to figure out what's happening. Is there a sports event? Is there a breakdown? You got to think of all that, and people behave differently. So the problem emerges, and you have to figure out the solution very carefully, because it's not very obvious sometimes. And crisis is pandemic. For a while we were in a crisis, and now we're trying to make it more complex, trying to manage it, but we're still, as you can see, watching and learning. Okay, vaccines are the answer, or do we have to do masks? You have to do all of it. So you can see, usually problems try to stabilize, but complex problems, it's difficult to solve. All you have is certain strategies. So then when I talk about six systems thinking, really, it's a lens. It's not a method, it's a lens. And that's what we are going to be learning how to use this lens, and no matter what we do. So there are these certain tools like causal maps, which you'll get started, which is the shared understanding mapping. We'll talk about iceberg models. We'll look at leverage points, and we'll talk about integrating well-being. So those are some of the things we learn as we go forward. So in your announcements that Lisa sent out, there was also a mapping canvas, which is what are our roles. So what I would do at this point, I can't remember what's okay, is at this point now we'll go to the Jamboard and try and work on some aspects of it. So before I do that, because I'm going to get out of this and get the Jamboard up, and let's see, did anybody have any questions while I try to figure out how to do this? Anybody have any questions so far in what I presented? No? All right.
I have a very quick question, Pretty.
Marina, yeah?
Yeah, very quick. When you talk about looking at the origin, what's underlying complex problems, I'm not really sure where you're going with that, because, I've been in various groups, and some will say patriarchy, some will say capitalism. I mean, racism has been in this country forever and ever. So how does knowing that help us in our goal?
There'll be lots. Any complex problems doesn't have one answer, right? It's important to know how people are explaining it, because the way you address complex problems, you have to understand what narratives people have in their mind. Accordingly, your strategy will be different. So that's what, and I think one of the papers I sent you was Danella Meadows. And so one of the most powerful strategies she talks about is changing the narrative in people's mind. And that is the most difficult to do. And we will work on it when we talk about best practices. So yeah, so we'll work on this. So I didn't want to push too much information at you. For today's meeting, let's just figure out what our roles are. And I'm going to see if I think I have the Jamboard I had it in the agenda, but let me see. Yeah, there's in your chat, there is a URL. If you could just go to that, and I am going to bring up the Jamboard. Let's see. Present now. No. In fact, I think it's this one. Okay, do you see the Jamboard now?
Where do I find it? Oh,
I can see
okay.
it.
You can see
Is
it, but
that
can
the-
you get to it? In your chat? Okay, let me
in
see. I'm going to stop presenting. I'll show you where the chat is. So let's see. So if I go to present now and oops, in a window, and let me see. Okay, here. One second. It wouldn't let me share the screen. So again, let me try again. A window and share. Okay, you can see us, right? You can see the screen that I'm presenting with all of us, right?
Yes.
So on the top right-hand corner, you see data and best practices work group, and you see participants 11. And then you see that little quote kind of sign. If you click on that, that brings you to the Jamboard. Okay, so let me put the link again. Maybe you can't see it because Lisa and I were chatting with it. So let me send it again. You see the
When
link now?
Yes.
Okay, go to
Yep,
that.
it's there now.
Okay.
in
Everybody can
order,
get to,
if anyone hasn't used those before, which I hadn't previous to this past week, when you to edit on it, you'll have to be on a second page. Like you'll have two windows open, the meeting and then the Jamboard will be open in another window. If you want to interact on it, which you should have permission, and let us know if you don't, if you're not able to see an editing on the left-hand side, and we'll try to make sure that you can. But that's how you'll edit it, is to jump over to that other page.
now, if anybody doesn't use their Google account, you may have trouble accessing the Jamboard, in which case, just put your messages, put it in the message, and I'll enter it for you. So the first page, this is just to kind of get you, and I'm going to stop presenting this one and get the Jamboard up. So then you can see me writing there. So a window, let's see. Okay, so I've got the Jamboard up right now. You see the Jamboard now? But you have to go to the
Nope.
link. You'll only, no?
I can see it on the, you're presenting it.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, good. So over here, if I just go to the Jamboard, if you click on the pen, it makes a line basically. But if you click, so the pen, this is the eraser, this is a selection. This is like a sticky
Pretty-
note. Yeah.
I don't know if other people have it. I do not have that column of tools on the left of
You do not. They
of
are
my
only able to view it. You have to go to the link.
Yeah, no, I did.
Yeah,
I clicked on the link.
I'm view only. And I did click
Let
and
me.
plus edit access. I think that's why we don't have the tools if you don't have edit access.
No, you should have access. So let's see.
Yeah,
Anybody else? Anyone else has access? Or all of you don't have access?
I have access.
What about Dustin? Do you have access? No?
No, I'm
All
view
right.
only.
All right. So let me see if I can. Yeah, let's see. Let me try.
Try the share again, and then maybe it'll give you a new link or update the link.
No, no. Let me put everybody in again. So let's see. Copy. How about now? Try that.
Still view only. I wonder if it's not parsing those individual email addresses as individual.
No, let me see. Share.
It- it-
Let me see. You know what?
if you click on the view only, you can request access. So maybe people
Let's
that
see.
might
No,
be easier.
let me see.
If you just change that to editor, where it says viewer on the right there, we should all be able to see it.
Change it to what?
Under share, right where you were clicking a minute ago on the share screen.
Yeah.
Get link, click
Oh,
there.
but I
You
don't,
can
you know,
change it so anyone with a link is an editor, which will work for
yeah.
today anyway.
Okay. Share. Change. Anyone with the link can edit. Done. Okay. How about now?
Yes, for me anyway.
How about everybody else? And Liz, you're the one who doesn't have a Gmail. Are you able to do it? And if not, just put it in the chat.
Does my Gmail have to be open?
No. Your Gmail address, it just gives you permission. It doesn't have to be open.
Because
Try. Yeah.
Because when I hit the link, it wanted me to download from the app section.
No, okay, then try getting your Gmail up just in case. See if that helps. You have to have get in from your Gmail account. Okay, John is in. Most of you are in. Liz, like I said, if you are you able to access it? If not, okay, this is share a fun fact about you. So you can delete this if you want. You can use a sticky, you can use a text box.
I'm driving. I'm not going to be participating in this section.
That's all right, that's fine. This is just to get you kind of familiar with the Jamboard. Thank you, Justin. That's good.
Where can I find the message part on the original board?
You can find the message part only under Google Meet. Are you able to?
I'm
What's
on
your
Google
problem?
Meet.
Mm-hmm. At the on you see a little quote sign on the top at the side on the right hand side. Let's see.
Nope.
Are you on Google Meet on a tablet or a phone?
Yes, on my iPad.
Yeah, I am too. It's a little harder to find there, but on the bottom of the screen, there's the 3 dots button.
Okay.
And if you click that and then in call messages, you can see it.
I got it.
It took me a while to find that too.
Lisa, if you could just monitor the message because I have this on and I don't think I can see the messages, or can I? Let me see if I can get onto Google Meet again.
Yeah, I can see them.
Okay, I'm going to, because I need to monitor the messages. Jamboard not working for you, Marina? Is your Google account open?
My Google account open?
Yeah,
Yes,
it is open,
yes.
and you're
Yes.
not able to do the Jamboard yet? Okay,
No.
let me just check. Maybe I have to.
I just can't find the pen. I don't know how to write on the Jamboard.
Okay, that's fine. But the pen is over this little thing here. That's a sticky, or the pen is a T, the text box. Stick note, or moving the sticky. Yeah, just
Thank you.
and then.
I just added Marina's comment from the chat.
Okay. All right, great.
You're welcome.
And I'll just put that as Marina, so I know.
Sorry, I thought I added that part.
No, that's okay.
That's important.
No, I'm. Oh, sorry. You can see I'm not particularly fast at this, but it's once you get the hang of it, it'll be better. And then Liz, yeah, if you could add Liz's part.
Yeah, I put in your chat. I play with my dog.
Yep, adding it right now.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, I put mine in chat because I cannot figure out if I'm in this or not.
That's
Don't think
okay.
I.
For those, I'll keep an eye out who's having trouble, and maybe I can talk with you after the meeting, because this is
Yep.
fun when you can use it and we can go. Liz, all right. And then you have Jody. She says she's got an interesting one there. And Dustin obviously is very good with all this. He's busy painting. I'll keep that in mind, Justin. I notice all of this. Let's see, Liz, and let's see, I can put in oh, good, thank you. Jody, excellent.
Okay, Jody's in.
Fantastic. So everybody's in. So this is just a quick warm up and it's fun. So what we will do next is this is now we're getting to the work part of it, okay? So what are your challenges and what data do you hope we identify? So here, just put in maybe one thing. What do you think our challenges are working with the work group? What do you kind of think will be difficult as we go forward? I'm just curious. Now, if for some reason if you cannot think right enough, you have the handout and you can email it to me after the meeting and I'll put it in. Because this Jamboard will stay open for a little while, so you can add to it after the meeting too. All right. So, for example, what are my challenges? Is I would say so. I'll give you about 3 minutes. So if anybody has any challenges, what are you worried about participating in the work group? Finding good data, okay?
I put mine in the in-call message board.
That's fine. Yeah, yeah. How do I find the sticky note icon? The sticky note icon is this one, the fourth one down on the side is the sticky note icon. As soon as you hit it, and you can change the color and you can add it. So that's for Marina. That was her question. Collecting data for, okay. Oh, gosh. Okay. Very good. All right. I'm going to, and what data, we can talk about that later. I'm going to the next page. This I'm very interested. Work group members can tell when things are going well for me when? How do we know that we are kind of, you are engaged and you think the work group is going well?
Let's remember that this is going to be streamed. It is being streamed. It'll probably be archived. So we're going to need to make this accessible for both deaf participants and visually impaired participants, so that whatever we're getting, we need the screen readers can read it, and we also have whatever is printed verbalized, so that people who can't see it can at least hear it.
Thank you, Sabrina. Lisa, I'll work with you on that. What is I going to say? Sabrina, I put yours as best as I could. This is just, whoops, for me to remember. Oops, sorry, Margaret. I can put in the one for Marina.
Thank you.
And Jody, if you could put that one on, Lisa, I participate. Thank you. All right, I'm going to move on to the next page.
To Sabrina's point, should we read those off verbally before we move on? Or is that using too much time?
That's a great idea.
Okay. So should we do it for the first one also? We haven't done that.
Yes.
Okay. So maybe, Dustin, if you can just read both those and then read them off.
Sure. So my challenges are finding good data at the local level, Dustin. My challenges are collecting data from agencies, Elizabeth. Keeping meetings participative virtually, from Priti. I'm still new to Niskuna, so I don't have a lot of connections, Dustin. Data can be overwhelming depending on how much we're working with, Jody. My challenge is not meeting with people face-to-face to develop relationships, Margie. Working with people who are not very aware of systemic racism, Marina. Building a safe community without being able to meet face-to-face, John. And collecting data from agencies.
Great, thank you. And like I said, this will be open until I would say next Monday. If you want to add more, you can, and then I will summarize it in kind of minutes kind of format or some way. This one, maybe, who wants to read? I'm trying to figure out somebody who hasn't. Marina, do you want to read this one?
Sure. Workshop members can tell when things are going well for me when I'm actively communicating. Dustin. I participate. Jody. I would probably be more engaged if I thought things were getting done. We were working well together. John. I'm happy when I'm enthusiastic and full of ideas. Margie. When I feel like we have found a specific focus. Diane. Everyone is engaged. Elizabeth. When meeting proceedings are made accessible to all. Sabrina. Workgroup members are co-presenting our work. I don't have a name for that person.
That was me, Preeti, sorry.
Oh, okay. No problem, Preeti. Things are going well for me when I have a quote unquote voice and when the meeting is not contentious. Marina.
Great, thank you. And thank you for
Can I
reminding.
ask you all a favor?
Yeah.
If you want to pronounce my shortened name, it's Margie, not Margie.
Margie.
My name's Margaret, not Marjorie.
Okay, Margie. Margie?
Yep.
Okay, all right. I didn't know that. See, I always called
Or
you Margaret.
Maggie. I'll take anything, but not Margie.
Okay. Thank you, Margie.
Thank you. Because
All right.
that would upset me.
All right. Since I did not know how many people were going to be at this meeting, I just made a whole lot of boxes. But let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. With a little more, but I think we can do it. So I did 1 to 6. I thought it would be 15, 20. Then it would be hard for all of us to work on one page. But if you can, on the left-hand side, let all of us know what members can expect from me, from you, from each of us. And then on the right-hand side, what you expect from other members. So your expectations of what others can expect from you and what you expect from others. If you could just put that. And if you're writing in the text, say expect from me and then write your word, and expect from members and write whatever you have to say. So okay. So if you'll want, let's see, did we get? Thank you, Lisa. Fantastic. All right. Margie, do you want to read on the left-hand side what members can expect from me, and the right-hand side, first, what members can expect from me? You on mute. Okay.
Yep. Okay. What members can expect from Marina: reliability and follow through, deep listening and not easily offended, Pretty. I will complete any task that I commit to, Diane. Expect from me to show up at meetings and do my work.
No, this is what you expect. No, keep on the left-hand side what you expect from me. The right-hand side is what you expect from others. So if you can go to follow through.
Oh, all the way?
Yeah, all the way down. The whole column. Yeah.
Follow through on what I commit to, or an honest no from Dustin. No judgment from John. Expect from me a genuine desire to learn and grow by asking questions. Follow through on commitments, Jody. Be attentive during meetings, John, and expect from me commitment and trust.
That's fine.
Trust,
Expect from. Mhm.
and then
Expect from others. That's
the
okay. Let's put them together.
the
Expect from
willingness
others.
to work as a group.
And
Yeah.
then you forgot your own. Expect from me to show up.
Show up at
Marty.
meetings and do my work. Yep.
All right. Okay. And then if you can say what I expect from others, which is the right-hand column.
Expect from others to attend meetings and follow through. That's me. Honest, sincerity and honesty from Pretty. What Marina expects from other members, integrity and keeping commitments. Thoughtful listening from John. Let us know. Look out for who is missing and who is not being included. Pretty. Honest feedback and forgiveness of errors. Dustin. Expect from others willingness to work as a group. Elizabeth. Honest listening. Diane. Expect from others collaboration. Jody.
Great. Good start. Thank you. Let me see what I have next. This was in case we had a lot of people. All right, so I'm going to stop this. This is a good start, and I sent you the handout. I'm going to put it in the handout, and like I said, you can add to this even after the meeting. So I'm going to stop presenting and bring up my slides again. Let's see. Window. So that was our yeah, I'm not very good, but let me see from current slide. Okay. Okay, you see that. So since we are all from different perspectives, this is kind of a great graphic. It's pretty old, but this is, why we are mapping a shared understanding, because this is a very classic swing and tree thing. So this is a swing on a tree, and this is how residents explain they want the swing on the tree, how the town board understands it, that this is what they want, how we as a work group may design it, how recommendations are written, and what residents really want. So it's important. That is why we talk about the shared understanding, because all of us have different ways and different things that we want. And we hope to have people, at least on this group, are committed to really listening and understanding. So I hope we can get there. So now a little bit more about systems thinking and what are we listening for? And Marina, you asked the question, what difference does it make, when we know all these causes? What we are looking for as we listen is we're looking to see what kind of goals. They may be difficult, but sometimes they call missions or moonshots. Difficult goals are good because along the way you have a lot of useful products. They call it moonshots because we went to the moon when President Kennedy said we have to go to the moon. But the research along the way yielded a lot of useful discoveries which are used in medicine, which are used in so many ways. So we're looking for these aspirational goals that people are talking about. We're listening for them. Another thing we are going to be looking for probably at our third meeting is feedback loops. So for example, it took us a while to get this group together because people were actually in our task force were nervous about kind of inviting people whom we don't know to a meeting, because sometimes something like racial justice and equity and justice can be an emotional issue, and people are wondering, what people would say at the meeting. So we needed, so you have courage to try new things. If you had the courage, then we are willing to try new things. But for some reason, if some of our fears are founded and what we thought our meeting failed, then if you look at the little arrow there, it's a negative. It kind of takes down on your courage. On the other hand, if you see positive kind of impact of what you're doing, it builds your courage. So the loop R1 is called a reinforcing loop because the more you do, the more positive things you have, your courage increases. The other is if you have some kind of a negative reaction, it's called a kind of gets you a little bit sober and makes you step back a little. That's called a balancing loop. And those are what we are trying to influence. So we'll be looking for that. We're also looking at narratives, how each of us explains the world as we speak, which is a very important leverage point. And we'll learn more about it. This is just introducing you to loops. And here are some working definitions. Working definitions can be adapted as work progresses. So one is racial equity, and you can see the source for this. This is Policy Link. Just and fair inclusion into society in which all people, immaterial of their race or ethnicity, can participate, prosper, and reach their full potential. And very often when you work with something like this, you may be talking about race and ethnicity. But what we do is also helpful to, as Sabrina said, to people with different abilities or with disabilities. So we may be looking at one thing, but our benefits would do a lot. So if you look at this cartoon over here, you have equality, where you're on a hill and you're trying to see something over the fence, and the person who's at the lowest kind of position cannot see through. Equity is you give that person 2 bricks to stand on and they can look across. While justice says you take away the wall and they can see it much more clearly. So you take away some barriers. So these are the different definitions I picked up. Inclusion is authentically bringing traditionally excluded individuals and or groups into processes, activities, and decision policy making in a way that shares power. And then social justice is a society in which the distribution of resources is equitable and all members are physically and psychologically safe and secure, involving social actors who have a sense of their own agency, as well as sense of social responsibility toward and with others and the society as a whole. So these are some definitions, and you can see the references I got it from. If you have some other definitions you want to include, let us know. What I was thinking is, as a group, we can build a glossary, and I'll put it on a drive, a Google Drive. That's why I was asking everybody to get a Google account, and we can add to it and adapt it for something that makes sense for us. But this is just a start. This is just to get us started. So here is Danella Meadows. Like I said, I kind of read her paper last year, and it really made me look at things differently. She says we can't control systems or figure them out because systems are complex, but we can dance with them. We can't impose our will on a system. We can listen to what the system tells us and discover how its properties and our values can work together to bring forth something much better than could ever be produced by our will alone. So it's important. So, how is older adult work linked to economics, to health, to environment, public safety? That is what we'll kind of work on during these meetings. So I'm towards the end. So our next meeting will focus really more on the shared understanding. But we have one more Jamboard session to go. Let me see what the time is. We have 15 minutes more. Okay, so we'll do the Jamboard, and I'm going to bring this up. So one of the things we'll get started on, we'll start on this time, but we'll focus on it more in depth at the next meeting. What influences racial equity and justice in Niskayuna? And then let us know, who else should be part of this discussion. They may not, like I said, come to the meeting, but we can go to them and talk to them. I will invite you all to a shared drive where I'll post this presentation and any resources, and you can add to it too. So with that, I'm going to stop presenting this. And let's see, and share the Jamboard again. I think this is it. Is it? No, this is it. Okay, so this is what we worked on a little while ago. And now, this is what I would like you just to take a minute or so, or maybe 5 minutes, for this is an example. For example, we kind of did this kind of a pilot run with some of the task force members, and we all talked about better listening. So if people have empathy, you'd probably listen better. But sometimes if you disagree with what people say, uh, you may not be comfortable speaking up. You'll just be quiet, and you may not sometimes even hear what they're saying. So just let me know over here first, maybe on the left-hand column, just write down maybe one thing that you think affects racial equity in and justice. Maybe if you can just go to the influencing factors, one thing that influences racial equity and justice. Anything. So let me see. Okay. And then if then you want to say, so this, the other thing maybe you also want to say is who have experiences, or for example, I should put my name here. Actually, put just that, and then we'll have a discussion. I think that it's complicated. This is one I've been struggling with. What is the best way to do it? This is much easier if you do it in person, but we'll get there. All right. So I'm just going to use these as examples. Like I said, we'll really get more in the thick of it at the next meeting. This is just for us to kind of get a warm up so we get ready for our next meeting. So, so John, the ability of people to admit. So over here, I asked you what influencing factors are, help towards working towards racial equity and justice in Niskayuna. What would help? So John says ability of people to admit that there's a problem. And John, do you think that would be a positive? I mean, would it more likely?
I was suggesting that was a positive. Yeah, that would help, especially for the people that don't, we run into them all the time. They don't feel like anything's wrong.
Right. So I'm just going to put a little positive there, okay? Because I'm trying to figure out how to, when I summarize it, I'll kind of show you, but we'll build on this next time. Education, Liz, do you think that's a positive? What do you mean by education?
Educate people how to interact with others. Just like in my example with teddy bear, inviting others to their home, learning their culture, learning their food, learning their languages, etc. Thank you.
And I'm assuming this is positive, right, Liz? That would help?
Yes.
Okay. No, that's okay. Let's see. Margie, people who call out racist behaviors. Could you explain that?
Well, when things happen and you hear somebody in the neighborhood or a friend says something, sort of asking them, what do you mean by that? And do you really feel that way or whatever? And not attacking, but just saying, why would you say something like that? I think it's we're building awareness in individuals.
Okay. And is this a positive?
I think it's positive.
Okay.
Because so often people just are quiet when people say things like that, and the people continue to talk that way.
All right. Thanks, Margie. Marina. In Niskayuna, what do you mean by that? Who is a homeowner and who is a renter?
Several years ago, we put on a block. It wasn't a block party, but it was a Dean Street Park party, and I'm on the Dean Street Park Citizens Committee, and we made a point of going to the apartments and inviting people, letting them know they were invited. And it's really important to recognize that not all people in Niskayuna are homeowners, and not all people in Niskayuna are affluent. So that's very important. It impacts every area of life.
So it's not assuming not assuming the background. What would you say of a person? I'm trying to think.
Not assuming. I would say the class status.
Okay.
Socioeconomic status.
Right. Thank you. That's what I was trying to say. I couldn't think of the words. Thank you.
Gotcha.
And that's a positive. Okay. Kind of, again, it somehow ties in with the awareness part of it also. Okay. And let's see. I'm just going to skip over mine because we may run out of time. Education, willingness to listen and hear another perspective. Jody?
Oh, yep. Yeah, so the education piece, I think that was covered a little bit already with Liz, but yeah, just knowing that there is a problem. And I think a lot of people tend to kind of stick their heads in the sand, and especially people who are privileged like myself. And willing, yeah, I think it would be positive because the education would lead to that willingness to learn, hearing other perspectives, hearing people's stories, and yeah, just with an open ear.
Okay. So I'm going to just read those out, but go on to the next step. Living in a bubble, says Diane. Regional history of Niskayuna and surrounding, Dustin. Caring, Liz. And I had said people who have experiences on equity may positively affect equity action, question mark, because I could think of it playing either way. So I have to think that one through. But if one is living in a bubble, Diane, what influences that? What's the next step? Okay, that could influence, that we recognize living in a bubble can influence racial equity. But what influence, how can you affect living in a bubble?
By breaking out of the bubble.
How is that?
Yeah, how is that? I think like what a lot of the other things that are listed here would be routes to breaking out of the bubble.
Okay, so all right, I'm just going to put myself a little reminder here. So, for example, if you, not this one.
So not
that one.
So for living in a bubble, I would say that would be a negative influencing factor, because too many people do live in a bubble.
Okay, let's see. Okay. So that's a negative. And you could do that by breaking out. I think Liz had said learning about culture and food or something. So I think she had said something over here. So I'm just going to put that as a reminder for me, and I'll figure out that out in the notes. You know, that if you did this, this would influence this. I don't know which way the arrow goes. I have to think through this. All right. So this is a start, but this is what we'll be going through next time. What influences racial equity and justice? And if you give me a factor, I'll say, how can you affect that factor? Are there unintended effects? But we'll have a more in-depth discussion next time. We're kind of 7-11. So I'm going to go back. That's why I said, if you can have 1.5 hours, that would be great next time. So I'm going to stop this presentation and just take a few minutes to summarize where we're going with this. Let's see, share. Okay, you can see my last screen, right? Which is the next steps, right? Okay, so I'm going to put this in a format where you'll see where we're going with this. And I see, Dustin, you're very adept at this. So I may work with you on the drawing part of it because I do need some help. Lisa has been helping. I'll see if I can get my son, rope my sons in, because it helps to have people who are quicker. I'm not very quick at this. It just takes me time. So what we have done today is really talked a little bit about roles and our expectations. I'll put that in that form that was sent to you. And if you want to add more, you have until next month, or maybe next Sunday. If you can add it by next Sunday, I'll send it out, make sure the minutes are right, and then the town can post the minutes. All right. And I want to know if for the next meeting, is next week monthly okay? Is May 18th all right? Is 6 o'clock time good? And if you can keep it to 1.5 hours, we may finish early, but that way I know I won't be rushed. Is that okay? Yeah, Dustin says, all right. All right, so we'll do that. Our next meeting it'll be the third Tuesdays. Lisa, I'll ask Lisa if she can send out a meeting request to all of you from now on. Lisa will send out the meeting notices. We will always use the Jamboard, so if folks who want to get familiar with it, had trouble with it, we can work with it, but we can set you up if you're interested, or you can continue with the chat and transferring on. That would work together. So your challenge for next time is think about factors that affect, that would help or affect racial equity and justice in Niskayuna, and also unintended effects. You want to do something good, but then you realize there's a negative. They often say today's solutions is tomorrow's problems. So you have to think about benefits and costs too. Do we want to do something really good, but we end up not doing something really good? You think about all those aspects, and we'll think up a bunch of questions that will get you thinking for the next time. So, all right. So I think we have covered whatever we need. Did anybody have any other questions? We have a minute. Any other things you want to ask or clarify? Yes, Liz, I see your hand going.
I put an example over there, but we don't want you here. Go back to your country. So anyone of you can explain how do you feel about it? It will be helpful. Thank you.
All right, Liz, we'll keep this for the next time. All right, this discussion, because we're running out of time. Yeah, but that will be our causal map. Well, I really want to thank you all for participating. Such good sports, taking on this Jamboard. And Lisa, thank you for being brave and helping us with putting all the comments in. Feel free to email us. If you have questions, email me, email all of us if you want. And I'm hoping it's okay to share your email, you've probably seen it because when Lisa sent out the meeting notice, all our emails were there. So I think you're fine with that. But well, that's it. It's 7:15. Thank you all. Thank you really all for volunteering. And we'll see you again next month.
Thank you, Preeti.
Yep.
Good job.
Bye.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Dustin, for that
Thank
help.
you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Pretty, you're hanging around to help me figure out how to do this?
Sure, I can do. Lisa, is it okay? Or we can do it.
Yeah. Hold
we
on
can,
one second.
yeah.
Let
Yeah.
me stop the streaming and recording for us.
Okay.
So sorry.
Yeah, you don't want to record that.
Stop streaming. Okay. And nobody was watching anyways. I tested it to see if it was working.